Hi, everybody. Oh my goodness, so glad to be back. So glad to talk to you guys on today. I want to welcome you to this session of Resolution or Resolve. Yes, we're continuing our conversations about self love no matter what. And this is part two. My focus for this segment is really talking about resolutions. I know people entered in 2022 with resolutions and goals. And some of you may have entered with resolutions to take better care of yourself. Yes, and that's an awesome resolution to have on your list. In this day and time, we know that people want to be happier. We know that people want to be healthier. And we know also that people want to know better how to take care of themselves. And that's the part of it. We want to take better care of ourselves. But you know what's challenging? Many people don't know how to do this. They don't know how to do this. So I want to thank you guys today for joining. The goal today is to continue our discussions about self love. Again, this is part two, self love no matter what. I mean, by any means necessary. I'm your host today, Dr. Tonya McKoy. I'm a licensed psychologist, transitions coach, and I'm so excited that you joined me on today in this new episode of Resolution or Resolve Self Care No Matter What, Part 2. So, this is your first time connecting with me. I want to say thank you so much for connecting. And for those of you that are returning, welcome back. Welcome back. And I definitely appreciate you guys for all of your continued support. Either way, I hope you take time to follow me and subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell right there below. And you know what? You'll be able to stay alert regarding the new episodes, new conversations that I'm talking about. And I'm hopeful that the things that I share with you can be somewhat helpful for you in whatever journey or phase of journey that you're on. Make sure you tell your family and friends about this channel because also there may be something that they could benefit from as well. So I look forward to talking with you. And before we get started, you guys know what time it is? Yes, it's time for me to give that disclaimer. Just a reminder that the information that I share is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any recommendation, any advice from your therapist or coach or even a medical provider. I disclaim any liability for the decisions that you make based on this information. So the information contained does not establish, imply, or constitute a therapeutic client relationship. Therefore, I don't offer any type of information on this video that leads for diagnostic purposes and that a diagnosis cannot be assumed by the information that I am provided. You guys know I have to share all that information. I have to tell you that so you guys know exactly what the purpose of this video is about. It's about sharing information with you guys so you can help make better decisions for your life. We're talking about self-care today, no matter what. A lot of times when I talk to my clients and other people, when I ask them about their intentions for self care, a lot of times they can be very intentional. I mean, they got themselves in the calendar, but they lack execution or they lack follow through. A lot of times it's because something else comes up, they're helping other people, and so they actually put themselves on the back burner. But I'm here to tell you, if you're not prioritizing, if you're not executing those plans that you have for self care, if you have a hard time balancing out needs of others with yourself, guess what? This is your time. Yes, it is. Say it again. This is my time in order to focus on my self care. Oh my goodness, this is your time to focus on your self care, to be focused on your self care no matter what. In other words, not jeopardizing your well being for others. Let me say that again, not jeopardizing your well being for others. There's a way where you can take care of your self care and also minister or help or encourage others as well. But don't do it in spite of. Do not be a martyr, right? So that you're just hurting yourself in order to help others. Many of you, I talked about the last video about how many of you are actually, looking at self-care as a reward, meaning that you do something, then you get to reward yourself. But I wanted to remind you again, I want to say this again, self-care is not a privilege, people. Self-care is not a privilege. It is a priority. Say that with me. Self-care is not a privilege. It is a priority. It's about asking yourself what you need, and it's also about providing yourself with the answer or the resources to make sure you execute or you accomplish that need. That's what we're talking about. Self-care no matter what. Self-care is important because many people who have testified or have shared that because they focused on their self-care, they led happier, healthier lives. I'm telling you, self-care is self-love. We're in the love month, and you know what? There's no month, there's no day, there's no hour that you should neglect yourself and being kind and loving to yourself. Now, I know in the last video we talked about some areas of self-care. If you missed that video, you want to make sure you go and try to find that. Well, not try to find it. It's right here on my channel, but just go and look at it. The previous video I talked about, you know, addressing spiritual and physical need areas regarding self-care. When we think about spiritual needs, we know that everybody has spiritual needs, and all those needs relate back to value and purpose. Like, what is it that you value about your life? What value do you bring to others? What is your purpose? What is the meaning of your life? What is it that How is it that you want to be remembered? That is all part of you taking care of your spiritual needs, which also falls under the umbrella of self-care, self-love. I also talked last video about physical needs. You know, how are you filling yourself back up, or how are you refueling your body? How are you refueling your energy? And then how can you have a healthy physical self? These are some things I talked about, how self-care can address those needs. Today I want to focus on two areas. I want to focus on social needs as well as emotional needs. So social needs and emotional needs. When we think about social needs, the first thing came to my mind was Maslow hierarchy of needs. We know that when we talk about social needs, that there is this basic needs, right? Basic needs where people are wanting. And we know that according to Maslow hierarchy of needs, that people are motivated by their desire to fill these basic needs. When we think about the basic human needs, we know that they are identified on the Maslow hierarchy as from lower to the higher level, last. So you're going from bottom to top. The lower level needs are fulfilled first. Then, and as you fulfill those, then you move up to the next level of needs. So we think about it, the basic level. People want to have food, clothing, and shelter. These are your physiological needs. Food, clothing, and shelter. These are the basic needs. After these needs are met, people then lean towards more of safety needs. You know, safety can be the form of security of health, you know, making sure your family is safe, making sure you're safe. Also, it can relate to employment. It's that sense of safety that you have. So after your physiological needs are met, and then people move on to fulfilling their safety needs. Also, we think about after that is that sense of love and sense of belonging. These needs are met typically through friendships, family relationships, and intimate relationships. You know, everyone has that need to be loved, or the sense being loved, that need to belong to something, something greater than who they are. And we see this a lot happening, especially with our youth, you know, getting involved in different clubs and activities. And we saw this a lot during the pandemic, where people were not able to socially connect, and how devastating that was to some people regarding their mental wellness, as well as their emotional, physical, um, spiritual needs as well. So love and belonging are also levels of need. And after those things are met, remember we're talking about as far as Maslow hierarchy of needs, you fulfill the lower needs first and then you move forward. So there's the physiological, the food, clothing, shelter. There's safety. I want a sense of safety for me, my family, my things. And there's this love and belonging. I want to feel included. I want to be a part of something. That's that sense of belonging. Then after that, there's this esteem, self-confidence, achievement, respect of others, respect by others, just being held in high regard of who you are, self-identity, you know, being confident in who you are and the things that you do. And the final one, according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is self-actualization. Self-actualization. I love that because at this place, that's where your creativity is heightened. This is also a place where your problem solving skills and there's this sense of morality. All of these things line up so that you come to understand who you are and those needs. You know, we think a lot about in this time we're in the social media time frame, and in the social media time, A lot of these needs are so connected. Let's think about it, especially in the pandemic, right? People use social media to get this sense of connection with other people. They were able to utilize social media to connect with family and friends. Some people continued to date long distance, but they were able to utilize social media. I think about even the military personnel. Social media has come a long way. There were times where they could only communicate with family through snail mail, but right now, they're able to communicate with their loved ones through various media platforms. So social media is really helping people to meet these needs. I think about self actualization. Oh my goodness. When we think about self actualization, how much social media has played a part. Oh, let's think about it for a moment. We've got people who've created online business, right? They've created online businesses through social media platforms. They've been able to showcase their creativity through various outlets: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and also the things that they've been passionate about are things that they've been able to develop and also been able to market. I've always said that your gift will, well, I haven't said it, it's biblical, but your gift will make room for you. And so I think when you're at self actualization, you recognize your gifts, your talents, and your abilities, and there's a desire to share it with others. It's like you're really, really knowing who you are and the things that motivate you, the things also that may hinder you, or the things that may not motivate you. But you're really at this place knowing who you are and what do you want and the things that you want to accomplish in life. This is a place where creativity, this is a place where the problem solving abilities really do shine. And so, and it's really interesting that social media is playing a huge part in all of this, especially meeting these needs that people have. When we think about the social support, and how social media has become a platform or a resource for social connections, we have to really look at also supportive people, right? Those people that support you. Social support is such a key component of very strong relationships. When I think about all the people that are in my life that have provided some sense of social support for me, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, everybody. If you ever just thought about the people in your life that have always supported you, and they've supported you so much that just saying the word thank you is just not enough. I mean, I'm talking about the people who got your back. These are the people that are with you in times of stress or distress. These are the people who are really focused on you being your best and helping you to be that. But there are also those people who are non judgmental, right? You can confess to them some things that you're going through or some decisions you've made, and you know what? They're the most forgiving, understanding people because you know what? They've also been through it as well. So when you can find that core, and you know what? You don't need a lot of people for your social support network. But when you have those core people, oh my goodness, this seems like there's nothing that you cannot do. You feel invincible, you feel encouraged and hopeful. I know when I just sit here and think about the supportive people in my life, I have to take a pause. These people have helped me during the most difficult times of my life. Oh my goodness. I think about the death of my son. I had never experienced anything like that before in my life, and many of my friends had never experienced that as well, and they acknowledged that to me. But they were there checking up on me every so often because everyone knows that after you experience the death of a loved one, after about 2 weeks, all the support start to wane, except for those true friends. Those true friends always check in with you to make sure you're okay. And I tell you what, because they were with me during that time, oh my goodness, I was better able to cope and deal with it. I felt healthier, and it did over time help me to, how should I say this? It helped me not to be as stressful and perhaps maybe not as depressed because I did have that strong support network. This network with friends and family. I'm telling you, when those support people, when they say I got you, they got you. I mean, there was so many times I just couldn't say anything. They were just sitting there with me, just holding the same space. And that was good. There were times they just sent me a text message to say, hey, I'm checking on you. Some people sent me voice messages. And you know what? That really helped me. When you think about social supports, these are the people who say, I'm available. What you need me to do, I got you. But these are also the people who can help provide you with a different perspective. A different perspective. Sometimes we get tunnel vision, people. We get so stuck on what we want to get stuck on, and we get so fixated on something that we need someone that has a more area view of the situation. And you know what? You trust them and you give them that space, that value in your life, that they can speak something to you, even though they may not agree with you, but because they hold value in your life. Yes. You're willing to receive and to hear that perspective that they bring to the table. I'm telling you, people, if you don't have your core support people, you need to develop one. That might be one of your New Year goals or New Year resolutions. Just having that support network. I mean, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like having your tribe. Your people who are so committed in you succeeding that they're able to go with you, but they're also able to say, hey, let's slow down. Let's check this out a little bit further. I'm telling you, nothing like support. Nothing like being able to feel like you belong to a group or something bigger than yourself. Nothing like it. It is such a freeing and powerful experience, especially when you've been in places where you didn't feel supported, or you didn't feel like you were part of the team, or you didn't feel like everyone wanted you to belong. I've been in those types of environments as well, and I prefer the supportive environments hands down. However, I was able to learn from those environments. A lot of times I went into these particular communities or environments as being the first one and the only one, basically being a trailblazer. And that in of itself can be very isolating. But even in those situations, I was able to pull on my supports, you guys. I'm telling you, I got to give some hand claps to those supports that you have in your life. If you have not thanked them on today, you need to thank them. They are very important in your life. They're very important. And we want to make sure we have the right people in the right space for us. When I think about that, when I think about supports, one word comes to mind is honor. Honor, and another word is commitment. A lot of times people don't do what they say they're going to do. But then there's those people who do, and they go beyond. They go over and beyond. I'm talking about those people, those supports. Have you ever thought about just people in your life who do extra for you just because they're not wanting anything from you, but just because they're connected to you, they want to give you the world. They want to make it easy for you. They want to give you resources. They want to give you tips and tools and techniques. Yes. It's nothing like a strong support network. I'm going to say that again. It's nothing like a strong support network. And oh, yes, who else do you have to have honor to and commitment to? You know the answer. Yourself. Oh, my goodness. You need to honor the commitment that you made to yourself about self-care. Oh, my goodness, people, let me just say that again. You need to honor the commitment that you gave to yourself regarding self-care. I'm saying you got to put those boundaries in place. You got to put yourself on a schedule. And you know what? You got to be willing to ask for help. Let me say that again. You have to be willing to ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is actually a sign of strength. When you recognize that you've come to a place where you need help or you need support, that is that some people said, like some I was going to say what someone always says to me, that's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. Because when you're asking for help, you recognize that at this moment your capacity does not have the answer for the next step, but you're smart enough to know that I need help. And you're even smarter to know, how can I get the help, or where do I go to find out what help is available? Asking for help allows you to redeem time. You may be saying to yourself, oh my goodness, I've been at this a long time. When is my breakthrough going to come? Well, asking for help saves time. You've learned it now from people who've gone before you, and they can share with you. So therefore, you are redeeming time. It's going to save you time. You're going to be able to do more for yourself. Let me say that again. You're going to be able to do more for yourself. Ask for help, people. ask for help. And you know what? When you spend time with others, and I'm talking about spending quality time with friends and family, you're building social connection. You may not have known that, but you're building social connection. Yes, yes, you're building that connection. And in that, there's this sense of belonging. You know, the sense of belonging was really a focus area of my dissertation. Oh my goodness. When I say the word dissertation, oh, those of you that have completed a PhD, you know what I'm talking about. My goodness. Woo, that was a work. And one aspect of that was a sense of belonging. You know, when I think about sense of belonging, it is feeling free to be yourself. It is feeling free to be yourself in a system or an environment that hasn't historically included you. A sense of belonging is when you feel free to do you. Like some of the young folks say, free to be me. That is a sense of belonging that in this environment, in this system, in this family, in this unit, in this job, I am so free to be me. Whatever that looks like, the quirks, the idiosyncrasies, all the things that define or make or define you or basically to show who you are, free to show those things, not that you have to hide behind an invisible mask. That's what self-care, self-love, no matter what is that I'm going to be me, even if you're trying to stop me from being me. Oh, let me clap on that again. If I had an exclamation point, I'll do that right now. If I had a mic, I would drop it right now. Oh my goodness, self-love will result in you feeling free to be the true you no matter where you are. Because the worst person to not fulfill your commitment with is yourself. Yes. That's the worst setup there is, to not to fulfill your own needs. Oh my goodness. To not be committed to yourself, to not honor yourself. That's oh my goodness, people. It's not a good thing. We have to learn to love ourselves no matter what. And loving me doesn't mean I'm going to take anything away from you. Loving me is making me a better me. Oh, I'm going to say that again. Loving me is making me a better me. When I engage in self-love, when I engage in self-care, when I engage in self-encouragement, it is motivating me, to be my true self. And that's good news on today. Social connections, people, are important. Now, what about these emotional? Well, they kind of tied in together, right? The social and the emotional. A lot of times people struggle with the word no. That's the word N-O. I like the word. You can say N-O period. You can have an N-O exclamation point. Some of you are not too sure, so your N-O has a question mark. But I'm telling you, for those of you, my NO has an exclamation point. Sometimes it has a comma. But I tell you what, my no means no. My no can be a whole sentence. You don't have to defend yourself. People ask you something you can't do. You can say, no, I'm not available. But no, we have to go into this long explanation to defend it. And then I ask you, those of you who do that, what's causing you to defend your no? You don't have to defend your no. No, ma'am. No, sir. You do not have to defend your no. It's a whole sentence. And so when we think about it, your no can be okay. Your no is okay. In other words, saying no to someone is saying yes to yourself. Let me say that again. Saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. People, we have to have work-life balance. And when you're able to say no, it gives you this sense of empowerment. It's like your power came back because you're not subjecting your thoughts, your decisions based on the thoughts, decisions, emotions of others. That's empowering you. That's freeing you. A no can be a complete sentence. Because if you're not saying no, at least sometimes, right? Then I'm likely to believe that you are self-sacrificing yourself. Because if you're not telling others no, you're telling somebody no. And most of the time, it's yourself. And you know what makes people say no to themselves, that is? Well, I think people say no to themselves because they have a fear that they're going to lose the relationship. And so they like the connection and they don't want to lose the relationship. And so they don't say no. They say yes, thinking that if they're available, that's going to stop the person from leaving. But that's not true. That's a myth. Some people don't say no because they're afraid that it would be a threat to their connection with the other person, and they don't want conflict. Many people avoid conflict, so they just say yes to everything, and then they grumble. They grumble behind it later. They complain about it later. But if they should have just said that at the beginning, they could have went into a problem-solving mode. But they chose not to. So people don't say no, but then they end up being stuck and sometimes resentful that they didn't say no. But they're not mad at themselves, they're mad at the other people. But that's I have to talk about that in another video. Don't have enough time to do that today. But when I'm thinking about the word no, we're thinking about emotional needs. um, it takes courage to say the word no. It takes courage to say the word no, because in the no itself there is this awareness, there's this self-awareness of these emotional boundaries that I'm placing in my life, right? And a lot of times relationships that we've been in will cause us to erect emotional boundaries, but it's good to have them. You know, it's good to have them, not giving everyone unlimited access to your emotional self. But it takes courage to say no. And that's operating on your boundaries. If you set or identify some boundaries, some things that you wanted to do, it's going to be easier to say no. If when you put yourself in the calendar and other people try to take that time, it's going to be easier to say no. Why? Because you've already got a system in place. You've already got a structure in place. So if you are having difficulty saying no to anyone, my first question to you is going to be, well, are you able to do it? Are you not able to do it, and why? Where are you regarding your boundaries? Is this infringing on something that you've identified as something that you're needing? And then, of course, if that's the case, then what led you to say yes instead of no? Just a lot of food for thought, people. A lot of food for thought. Emotional boundaries are very important. Very important. So don't be afraid to say the word no. N-O. It is a complete sentence. And I think the other part when you're thinking about emotional needs is the need to express yourself, the need to share what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And I think that's really the key, is that you are able to identify your feelings and your emotions. Now, a lot of people will say, well, your feelings are not true. Yeah, true. That's true. Because our feelings come from our emotions, they come from our past experiences as well. And sometimes we can get stuck on thinking everyone's out to get us based on the experiences that we've had, which is not true. And we have to kind of reprocess all that information in a different way. But it's good to reflect the feelings, because from the feelings you can understand, what is it that's causing me to have this pain? What is it that's causing me to want to escape? All those types of things. So being able to reflect your feelings is a key component. It's a key component, because if we think about it, our memories, the more vivid the memories we have, it is because the emotion that is attached to them. Those strong emotions, and if something happened, we're able to remember the details of that event because our emotions were very powerfully connected to that experience. One of the things I think we found is that people give more detailed information when they have negative emotions. Now, you know that's true. When someone done you wrong, oh my goodness. I get it a lot from couples, but individuals as well. But if someone's done you wrong, you can remember the time, the place, the day, what you were wearing, what you were eating, because that experience was so powerful. Your emotions connected to it was so powerful that you remember vivid components of that experience. It's important that we understand what we're feeling and what we're thinking, because that's going to let us know what is it that we're reacting to. What about what was said? Or what was it about what you saw that really, really connected with some memories that you had or connected with your self identity or your self esteem? One of the things I think people struggle with lots of times is being kind to themselves. You are being kind to yourself when you're able to maintain boundaries that you've set. When you're able to keep the boundaries that you've set, then you are really being kind to yourself. And that's what self-compassion is, being kind to yourself. It is what you it's what you would say to others in a similar situation that you have been through. Now you say it to yourself. We can be so compassionate to others and yet struggle to give ourselves an encouraging word. And that should not be the case. That should not be the case. Be kind to yourself. That is self love. You have to look at, what are you saying to yourself? What are you doing for yourself? I mean, and when you focus on these things, you're saying to yourself and to others that I'm going to love myself. I'm going to take care of myself no matter what. No matter what. Be about it, my people. Be about it. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you love on yourself. Take a look at your social networks. It doesn't have to be large, but it needs to be deep enough that whatever you're dealing with, you got someone that you can focus on. You have someone that can focus on you as well, and that you can work through it together. And also, you got to monitor and maintain those boundaries for your emotional needs. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Make sure you implement and maintain those boundaries. Be kind, be compassionate, be loving to yourself. Oh my goodness, if this has encouraged you on today, if this has helped you in any way, I want you to take time right now. Go ahead, follow me. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell. Hit that bell, you guys. Tell all your friends and family about this broadcast, about this video, especially during this month. People need to know how to love on themselves. I want to thank you again for connecting. I'm Dr. Tonya McKoy. I look forward to talking to you more and more and more and more. Make sure you connect with me on this channel. I'm going to continue the month out with self-love, so you don't want to miss the next video when it drops. Okay, you guys, take care and have a wonderful day. Next time, or let me say this, next time I'm going to continue talking about self-love no matter what, and I'm going to look at some other other need areas. I should say it that way, other need areas. So take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.